Okay, so briefly I explain, the Volcker rule is included in this very famous law, which is called the Dodd, D-O-D-D, Frank Act. And the Volcker rule is a part of it. Now, the Volcker rule basically is perfect, but contains two main points. One is a clear separation of commercial and investment banks. Yes. It means that by law now you need to separate the two. Second, no proprietary trading. So it means that you cannot trade your own assets. So I am Lehman Brothers and I cannot trade Lehman assets by Lehman. Somebody else can trade that, not me. Okay, that's as simple as that. Don't tell me I have to repeat, and then repeat again. So, can you during the break ask what I did so far? Okay, so because otherwise, yeah. Okay, so I'm talking about the question number 2 for case study, the first case study material. You do that one, right?
So actually, I want to ask, like, there are 2 topics, and we have like a group here. It's like individual choice, or?
No, it works like this. So I'm gonna do the whole thing explanation. Don't worry, it's okay. So don't worry. So okay, now I did this seminar because you know probably there is the spring break, right? But I didn't want you to lose time. So and since it's probably you've seen like it's a bit challenging. Answering this stuff is not like global economics, it's more difficult. So it's better if you don't lose time. So this seminar, basically I'm going to do essentially case study number 1, the first material, topic number 1. Then next Monday, I'll cover the first article of the topic number 2. So if you want to choose which one to choose. My recommendation was in class to everybody or most of you, unless you feel very good in macroeconomics and this kind of things, do number 1. Don't do number 2 because it's too difficult. Plus, the allocation of points in number 2 is heavily squeezed to one question. You see that? Number 2, if you look at the first question, carries 40 points.
I only print out the first one, so because I was planning to do.
You plan to do the first one. Okay, excellent. So, okay, so we do all the first one. So today I'm going to do basically, in the first case, the article number 1, the risk of trading by banks, because the second one is pretty easy. It's more like a historical kind of discussion. This one is more technical. Okay, I'll do the first one. Then I did start with them to look at the questions. The 3 questions are the one at the top here, right? So the one you. So okay, distinguish clearly between commercial, retail banks and investment banks. Why is investment bank business regarded as more risky than commercial bank business? I said this question answer should contain 3 key points you work around. First, definition of commercial and investment banks and their differences. Second,
discuss what is the risk of the bank sector.
Risk in the banking sector, industry, whatever.
In general.
Risk in the banking sector, how is defined? You know, risk in the banking sector is one thing, risk in engineering is different, right? So when we talk about risk, what does it mean there? Okay, second block. The third, compare and contrast activities of investment banks and commercial banks from a risk point of view. Compare and contrast activities of investment and commercial banks from a risk point of view. Okay? Question number 2. Drawing on economic theory, explain the reason for regulating banks using restrictions such as the Volcker rule and minimum capital ratio. Okay? Now, I explain what is the Volcker rule. The Volcker rule is a part of a big law which is called Dodd-Frank Act.
And what you said?
D-O-D-D, Frank Act. The Volcker rule. Okay, so write down. Dodd-Frank Act is the general law. Inside of it, you have the Volcker rule. The Volcker rule has 2 main points. 1, separation of commercial and investment banks. Clear separation. Second, no proprietary trading. It means you, as a financial institution, you cannot trade your own asset. Okay? So these are the 2 things. The other one is Basel III, minimum capital ratio. You know that one, right? Minimum capital ratio. So the minimum capital ratio, it gives you what is the minimum level of reserves, liquidity, that a financial institution should hold in order to be safe. You get an update from them, otherwise you will get stuck with on board.
I will tell for her after. You don't need to repeat it.
Exactly. No, I'm not gonna go. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, so far so good. Now, if you read the question is telling you drawing on economic theory. What do we mean by drawing on economic theory? Because it's very generic, right? So what we do? Okay, I suggest to use 2 kind of economic framework. 1, the classic framework of the aggregate demand and supply. In particular, look at the aggregate demand. The equation is this one. Do you remember? Consumption, investment, government spending, net export-import. Why? Because the financial system is dealing heavily with influencing these 2. Investments and consumption, loans, right? And if you want, in some sense, is impacting also government spending because of bonds and so on, but mainly this one. So, the answer in short is the regulation is good in that respect because aims at regulating and stabilizing this. That's the purpose of it. Okay? That's the second one. 3. Discuss the view that the separation of investment banking from commercial banking, the Volcker rule, is not sufficient to ensure a stable banking system. Explain what other policies, if any, might be needed. Okay, now, the first thing. How do we start this? Well, the good thing is, let's start from the Volcker rule. First part, Volcker rule, and what does it say in terms of separation? Clearly. So that's the first part of the answer, right? So we focus on the Volcker rule, how it separates, what it proposed to separate, and so on. Okay? That's the first one. Yeah.
Stefano, so what say separation of commercial and investment banks. And in the first question, we also compare and contrast the activities of, you know what I mean? So there are different things.
Yeah.
So separation of...
Yeah, the Volcker Rule is a law that imposes the separation. The first one is focusing on the financial side, what investment banks do and what commercial banks do. I discuss from a financial point of view what are their activities. Here I discuss from a legal framework what does impose. If you are an investment bank, what you can do and what you cannot do by the Volcker Rule. And commercial as well and so on. So I start off by explaining a bit what is basically the Volcker Rule, how does separate, what is the aim of the law, and how does separate the basically banks. Okay, that's the first thing. Second, we need to look at the idea of what are the flaws of the Volcker Rule, because it's not actually ensuring stability. The flaws, it means what are the weaknesses of the law. In particular, what does the Volcker Rule prevent and what does not prevent? In terms of risk attached to, banking activities. In terms of risk attached to banking activities.
Can you repeat the whole sentences?
I forgot. What did I say? Sorry, man.
Prevents and what does not prevent in terms of...
Okay, so I need to analyze what the Volcker Rule does prevent or not prevent in terms of risk attached to banking activities. Okay? Then the third part of it will be to basically discuss what can be added to the actual regulation to make it better, to reduce the risk.
To the actual
regulation to make it better. It's not easy, eh? To make it better, to make it more stable and less risky.
Actually, it's a bit different from the question. This is a bit different from the question because it says what other policies.
Yes.
And here we need to propose something to the rule.
Yeah. Explain what other policies, if any, might be needed. It means it would be necessary to do. You need to make suggestions. How to improve the system. That's the idea. Which is not easy. Yeah? Okay, so far so good? Yeah? So, okay. Now, let's do a small break and then we read together the article number 1, word by word. I'll go through it and then I explain to you what are the parts that are very important and I give you the definition of all the parts.